Hello everybody, this is Dr. Novak again. I wanted to do a video on nitrate test kits. There was a comment made that you cannot use the Hanna nitrate test kit because it's only made for saltwater. And of course, if you look on the box, it says marine nitrate HR. And that means high range. HR means high range. But anyway, they looked at that and they made a comment that this cannot be used for fresh water. And they were pretty adamant about it. You can tell by the way they wrote it. And I said, no. I actually compared the two test kits against each other. The Hanna against the API. And what I found out of the two test kits is that the Hanna is a lot more accurate, but the API and Hanna correlate with each other of what you're finding in nitrates. The thing about the Hanna is the reagents all come into a foiled package, which stays fresh forever. It's not ever being exposed to air until you cut it open and are ready to use it. So it stays fresh, and I only cut the very top of it. I don't go all the way around it, but that is all you have for the reagents. And it's a 10 milliliter little vial here that you fill up. And compared to the API, which is 5 milliliters of fluid that you use. So it's about half the amount of fluid you're using. But you then take the reader here, the checker, and it's very easy to do, where the API is using these cards, and it says one card says for fresh water and the other card says for salt water. So the API is designed to do both fresh and salt water. It's just the color on the fresh water is a little darker than the color on the salt water. And it's kind of hard to tell. As you could see, the two colors are they're different, but it can be used for fresh or salt water. And the reagents here that you have, where you have to put 10 drops of reagent 1, and then 10 drops of reagent 2, you got to make sure you mix it up real good and everything else. We're using the Hanna here. All you do is fill up the vial with water, then you open it up. Of course, you got to put the cap on when it's filled with water. And then you just place it inside there, close up the cap and press the button, and it reads the water. Then you pull it back out again, and then you put the chemical in it and shake it real good for about a minute or two. At least a minute plus you have to shake it. Then you put it back in. It's that simple. Close it up, and then you just press the button on the bottom and hold it, and it will start counting off 7 minutes and then give you a reading. That's it. This one, where you have the API, you have to make sure you get the drops, you have to mix it, make sure you get the right amount of drops, and the color charts are good, but there still may be a little question on, do I have 10 or do I have 20 parts per million of nitrates? It's still kind of guessing there of just how accurate, where the Hanna relieves all that doubt. It gives you a number, exact number, and I tested out my nitrates already, and the one thing I found out that the nitrates were, I think, 10.6. I have a little video on that of it counting down, and you can see exactly compared to the API, compared to the Hanna, they're very close. It's just that the Hanna is going to give you a little more accurate reading than the API is. So here's the two test kits side by side. The Hanna is finishing up on its 7 minutes. The API has to sit for 5 minutes before you read the exact color. But the only thing with the API I notice is that depending on your light will depend on the color of the reagent that you're looking at, even if you put it against the white background. So if you try to read it in a room that's dimly lit, you may get a different reading than if you take it outside, and depending on the angle of which you are looking at it, or even how the sun is hitting it, can change, once again, the color that you're trying to read. But if you look at both of these and you look at the color of the API and you see what the Hanna's saying, you know, here it is, 10.6. That's very close to what you're seeing the API reading. See, once you put it next to the white, let me pick this up here so you can take a look at this and see it a little bit better. Of course, this is by fluorescent light, and as we all know, fluorescent light can change the way things look when you're doing photography or anything else. But if you look at the reagent, yeah, you can see it looks like it's about 10. You can see it's higher than 5, but you can also see that it's around 10. Of course, like I said, this will depend on the lighting. So once you take it outside, as you see, if I hold it a certain angle as you're looking at here, it looks a lot darker, but it doesn't match up with any of the sample colors at all. It looks like it could be 20, but it's, you know, just by lighting alone could change the way it looks. Now if you move it a different angle and you look at the side of it, now look at the color, it more matches that of like a 10 than it does the 20. And the other part of the vial is darker. So I compared them several times. They're very close to each other, but I feel that for the price, the Hanna's a little more accurate because it's easier to read. There's no questioning of I have 10, I know that, but how much more than 10? Because 10 and 20, there's a big step in there of 10 points that we have to now say, am I really doing that bad? Or if I'm not doing that bad, you don't know. It depends on how you hold the vial, what kind of lighting you have, where do you read it outside, inside, where the Hanna just basically tells you the number right where it is. And I've done this several times with all my tanks. I compared it to the Hanna and I compared it to the API. And yes, they are very close. If you have the right lighting, you will notice they're very, very close. So the Hanna can be used as an either or, freshwater or marine, just like the API. The only difference is it takes the guesswork out of what am I really reading in the test, and am I reading too high or am I reading too low? 10.6 is not bad for the Goldfish aquarium, where the other two aquariums are much, much lower. The 90 gallon is 0.8 and the 20 gallon is 0.0. It doesn't have any nitrates in it at all. So this is one thing that I just saw a video, in fact, of people talking about all our life. We've been talking about nitrates. Do not let them get out of hand. Try to keep them as low as possible. Now people seem to be jumping on the bandwagon. Well, all nitrates can be as high as you want. I've known people that have 300, 400. The fish show no stress. I mean, come on. Think about that. It would be like someone saying the air in my house is not polluted. And I've seen this happen. I'm sure you're going to say the same thing. People have allergies or something. They go in the house, they're coughing, whatever. They go out and they buy an air purifier. It purifies their air, and right away they're saying, I don't sneeze anymore. I don't cough anymore. I didn't know it was the air, but the air purifier was cleaning the air in the house so well that I stopped my sneezing and stopped my coughing. Okay. That's what nitrates are. They're one of those things that you can't let them get out of hand because they do cause secondary problems. And yet you'll see these videos saying that, oh, are nitrates really that bad? Yes, it's been proven that nitrates at higher levels cause problems with fish. Just because the fish aren't jumping out of the tank and saying, hey, pal, there's something wrong. Uh, the fish are feeling stress. And this has already been proven. I've done this in other videos. So keeping track of your nitrates, keeping track of keeping them extremely low is a must. I mean, I can't believe what I'm actually seeing, because I'm sure so many old timers out there are going to say, yeah, we were always told about nitrates. You get water changes are the end byproduct, and you would have to do a water change to get rid of your nitrates because you need to keep them low, because nitrates are your problem child along with phosphates. If fish health, if you want no algae problems to get out of hand, things like this, nitrates are your enemy. They're not your friend. And the higher you let them go, and because fish are able to adapt to their environment, just as we humans are, fish are able to adapt to their environment. And even though they may have a stress factor in there, okay, and just because you're looking at that animal thinking, I don't see anything wrong with it, doesn't mean there isn't something wrong with it. Okay, until you remove the culprit that could be causing them to get sick, maybe unexpectedly, behavior problems, things like this can all change. And you don't know until you actually eliminate the nitrates and phosphates of the difference that it can make in your aquarium and to your animals. And because this is what these videos are about, protecting the animals, these newer videos coming out acting like, oh, nitrates are nothing. That's not the science. That's nowhere near the science. The science has been around ever since I was a child doing fish tanks. And why is it now we're changing the science and saying, no, you can have your nitrates go high as 300-400 parts per million. And I've noticed nothing wrong. Well, you know, just because you see someone with asthma or something, I don't notice anything wrong. You sneeze when you're outside, you sneeze when you're in the house. How do you know that filter that you're putting in there, the whole house HEPA filter, is really going to work? And then why, then on the other hand, are we making vacuum cleaners and stuff with HEPA filters? Why are we worried about it? Right? Am I right or am I wrong? We make them with HEPA filters today to clean the air so we're not breathing in all that pollution, because it does harm us in the long run. That's why we're putting HEPA filters on vacuums and everything else, to keep what the vacuum's sucking up in the vacuum where it belongs, not put the particles back in the air so we're breathing it that harm us. Just because we show no signs immediately doesn't mean that harm is not going to come down the road. And that's basically what nitrates are. They're that hidden byproduct that down the road causes problems. You may not see it right away, but through research, people have found out that yes, it does affect the fish. And especially when they tested it in Japan, that it did affect koi and goldfish, and they actually saw what it did to their scales, their coloring, and everything else. High nitrates. That's why they recommend under like 10 parts per million nitrates if you want to have show quality koi. So I thought I would show you this between the two test kits. The test I've done, yes, you can use a Hanna test kit. Even though it says marine, you can use that for freshwater also. Or you can stick with the API, which is a nice test kit, but it's not going to get you down to the nitty gritty. Are you really, do you really have 20 parts per million? You may only be showing 15 because it can't show you very good. And you're assuming that it's even higher than what it is. And of course, the reagents that are in the Hanna are going to last longer because they're not exposed to any air ever until you open up that package. So it stays fresh. So you have a nice fresh chemical every time you make a test kit. And I can't tell you how many times people have come up to me, said, I tested for nitrates, I got this test kit. I don't think the BCB baskets are working, or I don't think the plenum's working. I said, did you try getting a new test kit? Double check. And then they get a different test kit, a newer one, because their other one was too old or whatever. And, oh, yeah, there's a big difference. Sorry, yeah, it was a lot lower than I thought. And that solved the problem. So, yes, you can use the Hanna, or you can use API. Spend a little more money, you get an easier test to do. And you know, when tests become easier, then you're more than likely to use them more often, just to see if you want to use it once a month, once every 2 weeks. If you have a lot of tanks, or you're thinking that I have something not right with my fish, or I have something not right with my goldfish, they don't quite look up to par. I see I have no ammonia. I see I have no nitrites. What about my nitrates? Maybe I need to test for that with these goldfish, because maybe I'm assuming too much. Because yes, I found out that goldfish don't like nitrates. And could this be the reason? One of the reasons, I should say, why goldfish don't seem to last very long after you buy them and bring them home? Because we are assuming they fall in the same class as maybe like a mabuna. That's a little stronger of a fish. It can take more of a beating. Okay, so short video just to let you know that the comment that was made, the guy's 100% wrong, or woman, I don't know who made it, but they're 100% wrong. Yes, you can use the Hanna Marine Nitrate Test Kit for freshwater. It's very simple, very easy. There's no thinking involved, and it counts down your minutes for you and everything. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I just want to make sure I made this. I want to thank those people who have subscribed to my channel, because it seems like every day more and more people are subscribing to it, and it's really seemed to be taking off. The channel has. So until next time, this is Dr. Novak. Thank you very much for watching.